Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you guys are joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another Future Fight Vanguard video. With this video today, we're going to be continuing on the path of aerial Steed Liberation with the OTT deck. So hopefully you guys are psyched to see this deck. We're continuing on our path of aerial Steed Liberation, which includes Royal Paladin, OTT, Nubatama, Narukami, and I'm missing one, Gold Paladin. But yes, we're going to be continuing on playing catch up. So we should be caught up soon, guys. But yeah, there's nothing really else to say. So let's get right into the video. But before we do that, make sure if you guys are interested in anime or video games, you guys check out my second channel down in the description below at Let's Plays Animes on YouTube. Also be sure to check out our sponsor, Vision. They have a lot of cool Vanguard content like articles and stuff like that for you guys to check out on their website, link down in the description below. And if you guys are interested in additional perks to this channel, such as seeing my content a week ahead of time, or you know, being able to get taught or tutored or anything like that, just check out my the new join button next to my channel. It should be next to the subscribe button if you guys don't see it, but if you guys are interested in that, definitely go check that out. And with that being said, let's get right into the deck here. Go ahead and open up our Cardfight area deck profile thingy. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So we're going to be covering OTT today, the Protect deck. So obviously there's Protect 1 and Protect 2 that you have access to using this clan. I mainly think that in this deck specifically, Protect 1 is the most valuable and the only thing that you really ever want to go into, just because Protect 2 doesn't have that many advantages in this deck. Protect 2 is kind of just weaker in general than Protect 1, and it's hard to find ways to use Protect 2 effectively, but this is one of the decks that does not use it that effectively in my opinion. So let's get right into the deck build. So today we're going to be talking about the Tsukuyomi deck list, therefore it is heavily anchored in the Tsukuyomi archetype. So with that being said, let's get with the grade 3 Tsukuyomi. So this is actually a ride chain deck, so there's a grade 3 Tsukuyomi, a grade 2 Tsukuyomi, and a grade 1 Tsukuyomi. So if you are, I won't say playing the deck right, but if you're getting the deck right the way it's supposed to be played, then you should be riding from grade 1 Tsukuyomi to grade 2 Tsukuyomi to grade 3 Tsukuyomi. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way because you just get unlucky, but you know, that is the ideal ride that you want to do. So with the grade 3 Tsukuyomi, which is called Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi, has 2 Vanguard abilities. The first Vanguard ability says once per turn, counterboss 1 and discard a card from your hand. Choose up to 3 cards with Tsukuyomi in their card name from your soul, and draw cards equal to the number of cards chosen. If you drew 3 cards, then you get to look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck and put up to 2 cards from among them into the top of your deck and put the rest onto the bottom. So what this means is this is actually a very strong stacking ability. The Tsukuyomi deck itself is very highly based on stacking. So if you can like remember where your stack is or remember your triggers, stuff like that, if you're good at that, you can do that. If you're not so good at it, you can just play the deck normal. However, the deck is a lot more effective when you have a effective memory like Misaki does in the anime. She has an eidetic memory, which is like photographic memory. So if you are able to take advantage of something like that, this deck will also, you know, be more powerful for you. If not, it does work just as powerfully if you use it normally as well. The second ability is when you reveal 2 or more triggers from your drive check during this turn, 3 of your units in the front row get plus 10,000 power. So this actually makes things pretty interesting between the first and second skill. So the first skill allows you to, if you have 3 Tsukuyomis in your soul, draw 3 cards. If you have 1 Tsukuyomi in your soul, draw 1. If you have 2 Tsukuyomis in your soul, draw 2. 3, draw 3. But if you have more than 3, you don't draw more than 3, just because it asks you to select 3 cards, up to 3 cards with Tsukuyomi in its name, from your soul. So you draw 3 cards, and then assuming that you drew 3 cards, you get access to the second part of the first ability, which allows you to check top 5. You can put 2 cards from the top 5 back on top of your deck and put the rest at the bottom, meaning that if you check top 5 and you see 2 triggers, you can just put the 2 triggers back on top, know what you're going to check, and then that also makes your number harder to block for your opponent, because your Vanguard will be giving plus 10 to the front row for you checking 2 triggers. So if your opponent guards for a 2 to pass or even a 3 to pass, or what would be a 3 to pass for Tsukuyomi, you can still bypass it with Tsukuyomi's ability. So your opponent really needs to PG your attack, or give you more than a 3 to pass guard, which is a lot of shield that they're committing to the board just to survive. And then on top of that, we run a lot of crit triggers, so if you check double trigger, most likely one of them is a crit, and if you just need a crit to end out the game, it's very hard for your opponent to actually survive, because they have to block your Vanguard at full assault power, and then they're gonna have to block your rear guard at full assault power with a crit too. So it's very, very hard for your opponent to survive a turn like that. Moving on to our backup grade 3, we have 3 hexagonal Magus. A lot of people run Imperial Daughter as the backup to their Tsukuyomi deck, but I actually like hexagonal because it has the best of both worlds of being useful on your Vanguard and Rearguard circle. If you play Imperial on your Rearguard circle, it's really just going to be nothing but a vanilla. But hexagonal actually has the really nice bonus of having a rearguard skill. So Vanguard, when placed, you counterboss 1, look at the top 2 cards of the deck and put them on the top in any order, and then draw a card. So basically you can look at top 2. If you see a trigger in a normal unit, say grab the normal unit, and then you're set up to check a trigger during the turn. This card also gets bigger when you drive check reveal a trigger, when your drive check reveals a trigger. So this card gets 5,000 power, so that's on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. So not only is that a very good skill to have on Vanguard, because your opponent has to guard for extra guard stages, knowing that you're going to check a trigger probably, but your opponent also has to deal with this on Rearguard, and between its own skill and Tsukuyomi checking double triggers and giving 10k, this card can get really, really big on the Rearguard Circle and become really threatening to your opponent. Then our last grade 3, we run a one of the card that you never want to ride, but this card is amazing on Rearguard Circle. It is Bylin Witch Popo. So Popo, what she does is when she attacks on the Rearguard Circle and you have 10 or less cards in your deck, until the end of the battle, this unit gets plus 10,000 power, and your opponent can only guard with grade 0s from their hand. So she does have guard restrict, she gets power, making herself harder to guard, and then your opponent can only block with 0s. So what this does is, like, usually this wouldn't be a strong guard restrict because you mainly guard with 0s anyways, but in the late game, which is the only time that she activates, so she activates when you have 10 or less cards in your deck, meaning that you're already deep in the late game. And deep in the late game, your opponent has probably used a lot of their 0s already to block attacks, or to just guard in general, or, you know, use them for skills, discard, whatever. So by the time Popo comes into play, she's actually a very strong card, because a lot of times your opponent doesn't have the grade 0s, like straight grade 0s, to just block her anymore. So she's very good because of that. Moving on to our grade 2s, we run 10 grade 2s. We run 4 Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukuyomi, so this is our grade 2 Tsukuyomi. It has a Vanguard skill and then a Vanguard Rearguard skill. So the Vanguard skill is at the beginning of your ride phase, look at the top 5 cards from your deck, put 1 card into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of any order, and if you discarded if you discard for the card that you discard, if you discard the grade 3 Tsukuyomi, you can ride it, and then you can't ride this turn. So basically what this card does is it does plus you 1, and you get to just ride up for free. I call it. But yeah, it basically makes your ride a break even, which is essentially a +1 depending on how you like to think about your pluses and minuses. But it is a very, very good card. Both the grade 1 and the grade 2 both have this ability. So being able to like try to get you up for your ride chain is really cool as well. There's just no way to do it from going from 0 to the grade 1 Tsukuyomi. So you definitely always want to start with the grade 1 Tsukuyomi, if anything, just because it's easier to get to the 2 and the 3 because of the abilities on the cards. Then the secondary ability on Half Moon Tsukuyomi is during the battle that it attacked a Vanguard. If you have Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukuyomi in your soul, this unit gets plus 3,000 power. So it becomes a 12k attacker when you have the grade 1 in the soul, which is very useful against Force. Pretty much just useful against Force in the grade 2 game, because you're attacking into their 10k. You want to be able to actually hit them. Then we have 4 Rectangle Magus as our next grade 2. This card has been a staple ever since it has come out. It's just way too good not to play, in my opinion. But it has 2 Rearguard abilities. The first one says, when placed, Counterboss 1 and Soul Blast 1, look at the top 2 cards from the top of your deck and put them on the top in any order, then draw a card. So obviously it's like an exact grade 2 version of Hexagonal Magus, which is what makes it so good. You can use it on turn 2 to plus you 1, and then also ensure that you check a trigger if there was a trigger in that top 2. And then when your drive check reveals a trigger unit, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So when you check a trigger, it's almost like this unit is getting 15k if you add the trigger to it, which is really, really good for increasing numbers and fighting Force. Then our last grade 2 in the grade 2 lineup is Ravioli Magus. We run 2 of her. She basically has a very simplistic rearguard ability. Once per turn, When your drive check reveals a trigger unit, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So a lot of times, if you check one trigger unit, Ravioli Magus is actually stronger than Rectangle Magus. However, if you check 2 triggers, then Ravioli Magus will be equal to Rectangle Magus, basically just making more power thresholds for your opponent to get over. Then moving on to our grade 1s, we have the grade 1 Tsukuyomi, so Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukuyomi. Like I said about Half Moon Tsukuyomi, it has the ability to, at the beginning of your ride phase, if the Godhawk Ichibi is in your soul, which this time it's the starter instead of the grade 1 for the grade 2. At the beginning of your ride phase, if Godhawk Ichibi is in your soul, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 1 card from among them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom, and if you discarded a Half Moon Tsukuyomi, you can just ride it. So again, helping you fulfill that ride chain, helping you get to the next grade Tsukuyomi easier than normal. Then our next grade 1 in the deck is 4 White Hair of Inaba. This card is actually a Vanguard only booster. We only run it at 4 because we want to see it as soon as possible, because it is very important to get the ball rolling when you have Tsukuyomi, because by your second Tsukuyomi ride, you want to be able to be using Tsukuyomi's skill to full effectiveness. So its rear guard skill is at the end of the battle that it boosted the grade 3 Vanguard, put a card from hand into soul, and then draw a card. So this card has multiple uses because you can put cards in soul. So you can put cards in soul that not only fuels your soul blast costs, stuff like, you know, Rectangle Magus, really just Rectangle Magus because nothing else soul blasts in the deck, but it gets to fuel your soul, and then also you get to put cards in the soul to fuel for Rectangle Magus that are not Tsukuyomi. So if you don't want to soul blast out your Tsukuyomis, that's another thing. And then if you don't have Tsukuyomis in your soul, but you have them in your hand, White Hair of Inaba helps them get there so that you're able to use the grade 3 Tsukuyomi the next turn following that. Following up with our next grade 1, we're running 3 Tetra Magus. This card just increases our offensive pressure. Says when placed on rear guard circle, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterboss 1, draw a card, and then reveal a critical trigger from your hand to your opponent, and then you get to put it on top of your deck. So you get to stack a critical trigger even if you knew that one wasn't supposed to be on your deck originally. Now something else that you can do is look at the top 5 with Tsukuyomi, and then put 2 cards on top, and one of those cards can be a trigger. The second card that's underneath the first card, one of those cards can be a trigger, and one of them can be a normal unit, and then you can immediately play Tetra Magus, draw that card that's not a trigger unit, put a crit back, and then now you just ensure that you're going to check double trigger, therefore making Tsukuyomi in full effect. So very, very good card. Then we run 2 Oracle Guardian Gemini. This card says on the rear guard circle, if the number of cards in your damage zone is 3 or more, you can put this unit into your soul and countercharge 1. So you can basically just fuel your resource management. Very, very good card. Also fuels your soul. So fuels your soul and make sure that you have counterblasts. Then our last grade 1, we run 2 Coral Witch Zaza. This is just a PG for us. And the reason that we're running the grade 1 PG is because we don't actually run any grade 0 PGs as opposed to other decks, because we want to run a lot more offensive pressure in this deck, which is going to be the 12 crit, because that's how this deck works most effectively. We only had space for 2 PGs, so that's another reason why you want to go force or protect 1 in this deck, just because you'll be getting PGs every time you ride, which will supplement the fact that we're running less PGs. So obviously it has the Sentinel ability, and then it has the PG ability. When placed, discard 1. One of your units cannot be hit, and then it also has the when placed, draw a card and discard a card. So if you're not riding the grade 1 Tsukuyomi and you have the PG in your hand, you might as well just ride it just to get yourself a little more offensive pressure. Then for our starter, we run Godhawk Ichibi, obviously a must, because this starter literally synergizes with the grade 1 and does not do so if you run another OTT starter. So you have to run Godhawk Ichibi if you're running this deck. Then we have 12 crit and 4 heals. So 4 Battle Sister Ginger, 4 Oracle Guardian Nike or Nike, and then 4 Psychic Bird and 4 Spear Magus as our heal. But that was the deck part of the video. So we're just going to go ahead and switch over to the playing part of the video. So I'll see you guys over there. Alright guys, so as you guys can see, we have the deck here, yeah, we're ready to get started, ready to get into some matches. So we actually got Misaki this time as our avatar. So yeah, hopefully we don't have a a rerun of what happened yesterday. with the Royal Paladin deck, because that would be tragic if you guys watched that video. I hated myself so much after that one match. It was ridiculous. But today we're in there. We're well rested, about to pay attention. If we can find a match, that would be great.
One eternity later.
We found an opponent. Oh my gosh, they have 1630 rate and a 6 win streak. Alright, so let's see if we can take our opponent down a peg. Alright, so we're going to be starting with rock. See what our opponent starts with. Our opponent starts with paper, so they're going first. Alright, so we got a, I guess, decent hand, but we don't have any of the Tsukuyomi ride chain in our hand, which absolutely sucks. But we are playing against a force deck, which is cool, because protect is obviously very good against force. Especially D-Police, because a lot of avoiding them involves just PGing. So our opponent rides, uses their starter, draw a card. I assume they're going to pass turn after that, unless they want to do something else. So we don't have any Tsukuyomis in our hand, but we do have a white hair rabbit Inaba in our hand. So worst case scenario, we'll be able to, you know, get a lot of things strolling once we do start getting Tsukuyomis. So we're gonna ride our Tetramegas here. Go ahead and draw a card with Ichibi Yoshi. We drew the grade 2 Tsukuyomi, so that's actually very, very good. And then we're going to just go into battle phase, attacking his Vanguard. Our opponent's taking quite a while to respond. Hopefully we have hopefully he's just doing something and we have a more responsive opponent here shortly, because it would be a bummer to have to wait for every single one of his moves, especially something as simple as the first attack of the game. Alright, so our opponent no guards. We took a heal trigger, kind of useless, but whatever. It is shield in our hand, so not complaining. Damage check, nothing. Oh, this man runs Die Tiger. That's actually pretty interesting. I feel like you almost never see that card nowadays in D-Please builds. Our opponent rides a 9k, so that's actually another good thing for us. We're going to be able to do a turn 2 rush effectively. Alright, so our opponent's just attacking for 17. We're going to no guard that. Our opponent checked a PG draw. Pretty good. Went up to 8 cards in hand, or 7 cards in hand rather. Damage check. Oh, we damage check grade 1 Tsukuyomi. That sucks. It sucks to know that it was that close to us. Alright, uses Die Brave skill since the Vanguard attack hit to shove into soul and draw. Stand and draw. We ride grade 2 Tsukuyomi. And then we are going to call out Ravioli Magus, call out White Hair Inaba behind Vanguard, and then call out Gemini. And then we're just going to swing into Vanguard for 17. No guard. Alright, we got a critical trigger. That's actually amazing because Ravioli will now get power. Ravioli will get 10k on top of the 10k that she just got, so. And our opponent will take 2 damage. First one, no trigger. Second one, critical trigger. Alright, that's fine. And it's literally just like me attacking him for base number without my ability because of Ravioli's skill, so this is still a lot for him to block. 37, he requires a 20k shield. Alright, so you had it. Alright, we got rid of a heal trigger and we put him at 3 damage, so that's really tight. See what our opponent rides. Our opponent rides Styliner and decides to go Force 1, I assume. Okay, yep, Force 1. Our opponent uses skill of Styliner. Counter boss 1, soul boss 1. Look at top 7. Get any normal unit, and if it's a 3, it gets plus 20k into crit. So he did get Great Dayusha, which sets up brilliantly for his next turn. So I'm gonna have to be really careful with that. Calls out Platinum Ace. Calls out Silbard. Alright, so this is already looking like a really strong turn right off the bat. Alright, so he calls out the grade 1 that makes me guard the Vanguard with 2. I wasn't going to guard the Vanguard anyways because it's way too big to think about guarding right now. Even if it has 2 crit, I'm at 1 damage, so hopefully it just doesn't sack me. Alright, I might have spoke too soon. Checked a critical trigger on the first drive check, which actually puts me in danger because I'm going to go to 4, and then the rest of the attacks are already 2 crit. Wow, he checked double trigger on top of that. That's really swole. I feel like when other people play D-Police, they get hella triggers, but I just never do when I play D-Police. It's kind of sad, actually. But alright, first check, we check a heal trigger. Obviously not going to heal, but the power is very much so appreciated. Damage check 2. And damage check 3. No trigger. Would have been nice to have that rectangle Magus too, to be honest. So our Vanguard opponent attacks us for 36. We need a 20k to guard, so guard that for 39. And then our opponent attacks. Man, why can they do all of these skills while we're on grade 2? This is actually really whack. If we hadn't checked the damage trigger, it would have been so much worse for us. But fortunately we did. So we're able to just block each of those attacks with 1 card. Alright, so we stand and draw. We actually do draw Tsukuyomi. We're getting to use the grade 2. Let's look at top 5. I'm going to grab this hexagonal and put this card on the bottom, put this on the bottom, put this on the bottom, and put this on the bottom. That way when we get back around to our stack, as long as it's going to take, then we can get our Popo. So we're discarding Full Moon, which means that we're getting a free ride. Getting Protect 1. And then we are going to be playing Hexagonal to the rearguard circle. And we only have 1 Tsukuyomi in the soul, so I don't want to use the ability. And I honestly don't want to play this as a booster because I want to play it into soul from Inaba. So we're just going to attack just like this. Let's go ahead and attack rearguard with 12. See if he wants to keep his Platinum Ace. He probably does. Let's see how much he wants it. Alright, so he guarded it with a 5. Pretty much what we expected anyways. Alright, so Vanguard attacks for 20. No guard. Drive check 1, critical trigger. Are we gonna double crit this man? Let's find out. Alright, so first of all, Hexagonal activates. Obviously not really that relevant. But Ravioli does activate, giving 10k power. That is very relevant. And then drive check 2 was a grade 1 Tsukuyomi. So our opponent takes 2 damage. Gets sliced by the moon. Pretty much like this deck is the Sailor Moon deck. In the name of the moon, I shall slice you. White hair Inaba, we're going to choose for the Tsukuyomi to go into soul. And draw a card. We did draw another crit, which is more shield in our hand, so we are actually pleased about that. And we attack for 37. Our opponent guards with 2 cards. Oh, one of the cards that our opponent guarded with was Great Dayusha, so either my opponent has another Great Dayusha in their hand, or they had to guard with that because their hand is really crappy. But I doubt that it's the second option because my opponent seems to have more than enough cards in hand. So our best case scenario here is our opponent uses Styliner right here and doesn't get a grade 3 off of it. Let's find out. Alright, so our opponent got a grade 2. Let's clap it up. So our opponent has to play additional cards to try to make them reach Great Dayusha thresholds, which means that we should be able to survive this turn if our opponent somehow can't do that. That was actually really good on our part. Alright, so our opponent's just going to battle phase just like this. So our opponent's attacking rear guard. We're gonna go ahead and guard that with the crit trigger because we do want Ravioli Magus. It creates a good bit of pressure. Alright, our opponent's attacking Vanguard. We are just going to PG this and let go of a crit. Drive check 1, nothing. Drive check 2, critical trigger. Crit to Vanguard. That was unfortunate for us because either we are going to have to drop a crit and intercept or drop a Tsukuyomi, which I don't want to drop the Tsukuyomi, and I don't want to drop my grade 2, so I'm just going to guard like this even though it seems foolish. Unfortunately, we didn't just have a heal to block there. So stand and draw. Best thing that could happen is we could top deck a grade 3 Tsukuyomi, which is what I was going to say. But we actually just top decked the grade 2. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and not ride. Go into the main phase. And we can actually play this Tsukuyomi here because we will have the piece to do this. So let's go ahead and just swing with Vanguard to Vanguard for 20. Alright, our opponent PG'd. Hopefully we somehow survive until next turn. That would be amazing, because that would mean we would actually get to show off the potential of the deck. I was hoping that we checked at least one trigger, because that would have increased the power of our board so severely. But we're going to use White Haranaba here, putting a grade 2 into the soul, and drawing a card. And we drew a heal trigger, so we're going to go ahead and attack for 20. I mean, I guess I had a lackluster turn, just like the D-Please player had a lackluster turn, but to be fair, he's been ahead of me since he crit me on turn 2 and did all of the pressure that he did to me on turn 2, so. And the fact that we didn't get our ride chain off. So when you don't get your ride chain off with this deck, it becomes like extremely like volatile to itself, where it's like not that great. Oh, so our opponent's actually riding another Dieliner, which means that the ability to do Great Daiusha this turn is gone out the window. So and that's also interesting that he didn't put the Forge to his Vanguard, but he must think that he's definitely going to get a grade 3 off of Dieliner this time, which I would be surprised if he didn't, honestly. Yep, he did get a grade 3, so plus 20k and a crit. That makes this turn pretty much unblockable for me because I can't block all of those attacks. All those attacks are 2 crit, so I have. Oh, I see. I was gonna say I have no idea why my opponent moved that back, moved Platinum Ace back, but he has no soul, so yeah. Alright, so even if we guarded this, we would be left with nothing to block the Vanguard, and then we couldn't block the rear guard either, and everything's 2 crit. So we might as well take this attack here and hope for a heal. Come on. Yep. Wow. And we drew the heal off of Inaba. That was like the most terrible part about it, honestly. Besides not getting our ride chain, it's like that's like the biggest thing about that deck. Like just like when I was talking about the actual deck and the deck profile portion of this video, if you don't hit the grade 1, like the Tsukuyomi deck just goes downhill so fast. It's ridiculous. But we're getting right back into our next match here, which we're facing someone called All Leaf. Should go ahead and go rock again because we don't really care. Alright, our opponent picks scissors. We do get the grade 1 Tsukuyomi and the grade 2, so that's an amazing start so far. And we got the grade 3 and a rectangle mega, so this is amazing. However, we are playing against Murakumo, so we'll see how this is gonna go. Alright, so we ride Tsukuyomi, draw, And pass turn to the Murakumo player. So you guys actually should this game get a pretty good demonstration of how the deck's supposed to work. Our opponent attacks us for 8. We are going to no guard that. Our opponent checks a million rat, making 7 cards in hand, no biggie. We damage check the heal trigger. Like, I think our heal triggers just actually hate us in this deck. Like, they're never gonna come to our actual rescue. Draw. We use grade 1 Tsukuyomi skill on Vanguard. We get top 5, get a card. We're going to choose to get this Popo early, because if not, it's going to be on the bottom for the rest of the game, and we don't really want that at this point. And then the card to discard is going to be the grade 2, so that we can obviously ride it. Then we are going to call Rectangle Magus here, using the skill to counter boss 1, soul blast out the Hawk, which is very important because we want to keep that other Tsukuyomi card in soul. And we actually get to place them back just like this and draw Tetra Magus. So I don't think there's anything else specifically that we want to do. We do have only one Tsukuyomi in soul, so we don't want to play this Tsukuyomi down just yet in case we get a white Haranaba in the next few turns. Yeah, I think we're good there. So let's just go into battle phase. Attack Vanguard for 12 because we have the grade 1 in soul. No guard, we get a heal. So we do heal off of damage. Then we give the power to Rectangle Magus, and Rectangle Magus' skill will proc, giving it another 5k. And because my opponent didn't check a damage trigger, this is probably going to be very hard to block because he either has to give us 20k or no guard, which most people will just no guard in that scenario. So it's basically a free damage, so that's cool. We're already at 2 damage to 0, so very good. Our opponent rides Bloody Mist, uses Bloody Mist skill to call out another Bloody Mist, getting free cards for counterblast. Probably going to call out Million Rat and then use Million Rat skill, I would assume. Okay, call out Miyomaru. Oh, my opponent didn't use skill. That's actually very interesting. I don't know why my opponent would attempt to use... Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. So my opponent used Miyomaru to boost up Bloody Mist power, which is not bad at all, but if we hit a damage trigger, we still avoid that. So, yeah, we hit a damage trigger, so critical trigger, all effects Vanguard. Our opponent's attacking Vanguard, we're no guarding. He doesn't get it, so the attack doesn't hit. And our opponent's attacking rear guard, and we don't really care that much about it, so we're just gonna let it go. So the damage is now still 1 to 2, so we're doing pretty good. Now we get to use grade 2 Tsukuyomi skill, top 5. I would definitely say let's get this white Haranaba and then put the crit stacked on bottom and then the grade 1 Tsukuyomi obviously. And then we're gonna discard the 3 so that we can ride it. Got us to the full moon. We're gonna get protect 1. And then we are going to go ahead and play this Popo right here. Even though we're far from being able to use it, another reason I use Popo in the deck is because she can sometimes be used to bait your opponent into attacking into it because they think that it's really important. So it could be used in that matchup too. I also think in an Excel matchup we won't make it long enough to have 10 cards left in our deck, but I might be wrong. We'll see. The game's going pretty well so far. So we're not going to use Tetramagus. We're not going to call the PG. We do only have 2 Tsukuyomis in Soul, so we're going to keep this in hand. And then the rest can just stay as well. So let's go into the battle phase. Attack Vanguard for 20. Our opponent no guards. Check 1, grade 1 Tsukuyomi. Check 2, grade 2 Tsukuyomi. Alright. With the power of the moon, I will punish you. Just because I did that, he got a damage trigger. It was literally because I did the Sailor Moon chant thing, I bet. The game's like, nah. Wrong anime, son. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and actually put, yeah, the grade 1 into the soul. Draw a card. We drew a Gemini, not bad at all. And then we're going to attack Miyamaru. Oh wow, he actually just let the Miyamaru go. I'm really surprised they didn't just intercept. I'm actually really shooketh that he did that. Let's see if he rides Hyuga. Yep, there he is. The boy himself. The broke himself. Excel 2. This is where all the plussing begins. Now, luckily, Tsukuyomi, I think, will draw me enough cards to kind of mitigate Hyuga board wiping me every turn. But we'll see if that theory comes to fruition, because I've never actually played this matchup as the Tsukuyomi player. So our opponent's just calling out full board, going ham. Using Hyuga, counterboss 1. Call a grade 3, I assume. Yep, calls a Nudo. So he has double Nudo, so he's probably going to go to 8 cards in hand. If not 9 because of Jakotsu Girl, but we'll see. So we no guard Vanguard. Drive check 1, Bloody Mist. Really good. Drive check 2. Alright, cool. Really solid drive checks. So Hyuga does its damage to us. Do we get a damage trigger? We do not get a damage trigger. Okay, that's fine. Alright, our opponent attacks our Vanguard for 17. We no guard. No damage trigger again. Our opponent attacks us for 14. No guard. Damage check, critical trigger. Power to Vanguard. I'm pretty sure we're still gonna no guard the last attack if he attacks Vanguard. Yeah, I really don't want to guard this turn, so I'm just gonna take that. I want to save all my guard for when his really big push turn that I know is coming with Hayaki and all that. So I'd rather just keep my hand for now. So he's about to use double Nudo to draw 2. Yep, as expected. Now he has 8 cards in hand. I think we can still... Oh, and we just top deck grade 3 Tsukuyomi, so that's perfect. Let's go ahead and ride again. Giving us another protect. And then let's go ahead and do Tsukuyomi skill. Counterboss 1. And discard 1. Let's go ahead and discard the grade 2 Tsukuyomi. Select 3 Tsukuyomis in our soul. Draw 3 cards. Top 5. None of them are triggers, so I'm actually just gonna say put none to the top, and then I can actually just put all 5 to bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to bottom. Tight. Alright, if we did have a crit in our hand, we could have put 1 to top, just use Tetramagus reliably, but we didn't, so we didn't want to risk that particularly. So call Ravioli, and then let's go ahead and call grade 1 Tsukuyomi and call Gemini, just to get ourselves a little board here. And we have 10 cards in hand. That should be more than fine. And then let's swing for 20. So our opponent PGs, obviously scared of a double crit because this is OTT. Jai check 1 critical trigger. So we have 20 versus 27. We're actually gonna give this to Ravioli. Great Empire to Ravioli. Ravioli's skill will proc. And we actually did check double crit, so let's see if he's able to block the Ravioli. His Ravioli column is insanely big. Can you block this? That is the question. We are going to use white Haranaba first. Let's go ahead and put in this Tetramagus and draw a card, getting ever so closer to using Popo. Now if he has 2 PGs, that's godlike. Okay, Shiryuki. Soul Blast 2. Oh, I actually forgot, in this matchup, stat doesn't even matter because Hyuga's going to make me shuffle my deck when he board wipes me. Can he guard beyond that, though? I feel like he's going to have to drop a lot of shield. Yeah, he's down to 2 cards in hand. That's actually insane. Yep, give me that shield, homie, and then I'm still attacking your Vanguard. Give me that free damage. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That free damage. Alright, so let's see what he decides to do to recover. Obviously, he can... obviously, I'm going to have to guard because I'm at 5, so he's going to have access to Rainy Madam to get his Shiryuki back. I don't know if it'll really help him just because grade 3 Tsukuyomi in itself just counters Shiryuki, but... yeah. Alright, calls Hayaki. Alright, calls Meomaru, and then he's going to probably use Hyuga, counterboss 1, call 1, and then he's going to board wipe my field and then use Hayaki to do like a power push turn. And then I'm going to survive because I really don't see a way of me dying with all this in my hand. And then I'm going to kill him. That's my prediction, guys. You've heard it here. OTT prediction at its finest. Oh, this is actually interesting. He runs this card. If you PG my Vanguard, bad things will happen. I get another attack card, basically. However, the new attack to come out will just be a 12k Hyuga, so I don't think it's really an issue. But he is going to board wipe me. My deck is shuffled. He does attack for 40, and I do have 2 heals, so I'm actually not gonna... well, actually, yeah, I actually am gonna PG this because he attacked in the wrong attack order. If he really wanted that grade 1 to be useful, he would have done it in a different way. He would have just attacked with the rear guard first. It's the best way to use that card. But we PG. He takes a critical trigger. Gives the power to Meomaru. Okay. And then checks his Shiryuki. Okay, so we know that he's going to use Rainy Madam to get another Shiryuki. That's a no-brainer. Not really a big deal. He goes ahead and attacks for 47. So we're going to guard with 2 heals for 52. And then he attacks for 37. We're gonna guard for 42. And then he attacks for 27, and we are going to just PG using a crit trigger, because we do want to keep a crit trigger and our Tetramagus. So PG that last attack, and I think this is where we kill him, because Tsukuyomi grade 3 is just really strong. So we're going to draw. Not only are we going to draw, but we're going to replenish using Tsukuyomi's skill. So counter boss 1. Let's go ahead and drop the PG, because we don't really need that in a cell matchup. Select 3 Tsukuyomis, draw 3 cards. Top 5. Fortunately, we didn't get double crit, but we can put 1 to the top. Oh, we should actually put 2 to top. Oh, that's unfortunate. Kind of late. Too late for that. I forgot about the whole fact that we had a Tetramagus in our hand. But let's go ahead and call, and then call, and call, because I don't think that he can, and I'm not going to use Tetramagus skill just to flex him. So I don't think that he can actually just get around me just with Shiryuki alone. It's like not enough. But alright, he Shiryuki's, that was expected. And he pretty much won to passes me, which was pretty dumb, but you know, if it was all he can do, you know, I guess all power to him. But either way, my hexagonal was gonna be able to hit, so. In the power of the moon, I crushed you ninjas. Say goodbye to Exodia. I actually haven't seen him check a heal all game, so that'd be wild if he's 6 damage healed right now. Please. Oh, okay. Woo! We did it, boys. We beat the best unbeatable deck in the format. We did it, boys. Alright, so that's how the deck... Obviously, I think that when you get a good hand, like, Tsukuyomi is one of the most powerful decks, I think, in the format. Wow, there's just lots of people on. Alright, so we're gonna go rock one more time. John, Ken, Pawn. Alright, so we won. We don't have grade 1 Tsukuyomi, but we do have grade 2 Tsukuyomi, so we're gonna put these back. Oh yes, and we got the grade 3 and the grade 1 in the mulligan. That's lit. And we're going first. Okay, so ride grade 1 Tsukuyomi, use Godhawk to draw, and then pass turn. And we have a white Haranaba. Oh my god, our hand is so perfect, guys. It's ridiculous, actually. He uses the starter to draw. Looks like our opponent is playing Brant, the Brant deck, which is low-key kind of boring, but whatever. We're just gonna no pass. We don't like being put at high damage early. Stand and draw. I feel like this deck actually has a good matchup against this deck because I can actually like stack so that I don't get my heal triggers. But we're gonna add a card to our hand, add the Tetramagus, put these 2 heals on top, and put these 2 crits on the bottom after that. Then the card that we discard is gonna be the grade 2 Tsukuyomi, obviously. And then he just got a Galley, so we're just not gonna call any cards because I don't want to lose my Inaba because I do need it. And I don't want to play this either. Yeah. Attack for 12. Drive check, grade 3 Tsukuyomi. Alright, that is useful. Yeah, check the go trigger. Good. It's not really useful. So our opponent's probably gonna ride Galley. Yep. And depending on whether or not he plays the boosters, depending on not, we're gonna guard Galley. Alright, he uses the skill of Chirrell, Counterboss 1, looking top 4. He gets to get a Brant card, or a Starholt card rather. The rest go to the drop zone. That really sucks for him because I believe he just lost 2 PGs. Yeah, he just lost 2 PGs to that skill. That's insane. We get attack for 18, we're gonna no guard. He is gonna get to draw a card, but that really doesn't matter to us. Especially if we check a damage trigger here, because then his rear guards aren't hitting. Yup. Tsukuyomi come through! It's because we're playing Misaki with this Tsukuyomi. You guys already know. Galley, Soul Blast, draw. And then pass turn, because he can't hit us. Yup. Alright, stand and draw. Now we're going to use grade 2 Tsukuyomi. Top 5. Let's go ahead and grab the hexagonal. Put the 2 crits on top and put these under those. Then we're going to discard the grade 3 Tsukuyomi. And go ahead and have protect 1. And we can't use Tsukuyomi this turn, but we will be able to do it next turn when we have the setup. I'm gonna play this Popo for bait, and then play this hexagonal. Hit this, and then did we stack anything on top of our deck this turn? We did not. So we're gonna go ahead and call this Tetramagus using the skill. Counterboss 1. Draw a card. Nice. Put the crit back. And then we're gonna go ahead and call this grade 1 Tsukuyomi. And then we're going in, boys. Let's see if he has a PG. He honestly, we've been super fortunate so far, and he's been super unfortunate. That's why I really don't like this card, because it makes you lose whatever's in the top 4. And if whatever's in the top 4 is important, you just lose it. But we do check that crit. Crit to Vanguard, power to rear guard, hexagonal procs, giving it 5k. Oh man, and we check double crit. Woo! Yeah, I think it's gonna be very hard for our opponent to come back from this and actually win the game. I actually wouldn't be surprised if our opponent concedes. In the power of the moon, I will double crit you. 1, 2, critical trigger. Okay. Damage check 3. Cool. So now we use Inaba. We're gonna go ahead and suck this grade 3 to soul. Draw a card. And then attack for 40. He still needs a 20k shield to block. But he's probably gonna block this because this over here is 50. That's even more big. Wow, he had to block the 3 cards. That's crazy. Alright, he called the grade 1, the rear guard, after guarding with it. And then he just takes the 50k attack, I assume. So all we have to do now, because he's at 5 damage, is just ensure that we don't set up a double trigger. And double critical trigger, that is, just so we can do damage. Alright, opponent rides Brant. This is actually a funny matchup that I've also never played before, which you can literally just set up your deck so that you don't check triggers. So therefore it makes the drive check like useless, like the whole reverse triggers thing useless. Yep, Brant's got to reverse our triggers. Attacks our Vanguard for 31. No guard, no care. Ooh, critical trigger. Alright, we might care a little bit. Please don't check a second one of those. I know we double crit you, but relax, bro. Okay, bet. So he only has 4 cards in his hand, or sorry, 5 cards in his hand. So damage 1, critical trigger. Obviously doesn't matter on defense, but it does give us power. Damage set. Vanguard attacks for 23. Block that. And then Vanguard attacks for 38. We're gonna take that actually. Damage tech rectangle, perfect. Alright. I think this is where we end things, so we're gonna attempt to final turn. Go ahead and ride grade 3 Tsukuyomi. Imagine it get protect. Use the skill Tsukuyomi, counterboss 1. Discard the grade 2 Tsukuyomi. Select 3. Draw 3. None of them are triggers, so that's completely fine with us actually. Do we have a Tetramagus in hand? We do, and we do have a crit as well. But we don't want to check the crit because that's going to ensure that our Vanguard's not going to hit. Yeah, I'm gonna put all of them to bottom, because even if I do check a heal, it's just gonna deal me a damage, which is fine. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and swing with Vanguard for 20. Now if we do check double heal, that would be really unfortunate and we just auto lose the game, but I guess that's a risk we have to take. I think at the beginning of this game, if that wasn't last game, we stacked 2 heals on the bottom, so let's go ahead and put power to Popo. Critical trigger, cool. Power. Tsukuyomi skill. Hexagonal skill. Drive check 3 because of his rear guard. Goes to our hand. Feel the power of the moon that does nothing. Hiya. Hopefully he doesn't have a way to block both of these rear guards. Then my final turn will be wasted. But just in case, we'll plot and prepare. So we'll put this rectangle in and draw a card. Attack for 40. Let's see what you got, Brent player. You got enough to guard a 40 and a 50? If you do, I'll be shook. Because you got 2 PGs in the drop and I didn't see you get one. Alright, that's 43. Alright, he bound my Gemini, okay. Can he block this 50k though? This man's like, final turn, I'll show you. Not today. Yes! Let's go, baby. He couldn't block it. Damage check, no trigger. Alright, we beat the final villain, guys. But yes, that has been our third and final match of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This has been the OTT Tsukuyomi V-BT05 aerial steed video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like down below. Also comment letting me know what you thought of the video and what are your specific builds for Tsukuyomi. What do you like the best playing this deck? Also be sure to check out Vision Let's Plays Animes if you're interested in anime, and becoming a member of the channel if you guys are interested in the perks. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.